Hello everyone, if you have your own paranormal experiences you'd like to share, please send them to our channel. Remember, we're not looking for fiction, but real accounts of unexplained events. Stay safe out there, and remember, not all ghosts are scary. Some just need help finding their way home. It was one of those nights where the air feels strange, thick, unmoving, like the city itself is holding something in. I'd stayed way too long at my friend's apartment, drinking cheap beer and pretending I wasn't watching the clock. By the time I finally left, it was just past midnight. The streets were different at that hour. Quieter, darker, the kind of quiet where you can hear your own footsteps too clearly. Street lights hummed faintly overhead, casting sickly orange halos. In the distance, I could still hear the faint whoop of sirens, but here, on this block, it was just me and the night. I pulled out my phone, ordered an Uber, and saw that my driver would be there in about 5 minutes. I stuffed the phone back into my pocket and leaned against a lamppost, scrolling idly while keeping half an eye on the street. A few cars passed. Most didn't slow. Then, about 2 minutes later, earlier than expected, a black sedan glided up to the curb and rolled to a stop right in front of me. The window slid down, smooth and silent. The driver leaned across the seat. His face was in shadow, but I could see just enough to notice the glint of glasses, the pale flash of teeth. He said my name. Not just my name, he said it the way I pronounce it. Not the lazy, shortened version most people use. The proper one. You're Alex, right? I froze. My heart skipped once. I glanced down at my phone, the app still showed 2 minutes until my driver arrived. But he had my name. My exact name. Yeah, I said, my voice caught between question and answer. The man gave a quick, practiced nod and unlocked the doors. The interior light flicked on just long enough for me to see the faint outline of his face, ordinary, forgettable, before it clicked back off. Something in my gut told me to wait. To stall. But the street was empty, and the night was heavy with that kind of tension that makes you want to get moving, to get home. So I climbed in. The car smelled faintly of pine air freshener, the cheap kind that comes in a plastic tree dangling from the rearview mirror. The dashboard glowed a soft green, GPS screen illuminated with a route. Everything looked normal. Almost too normal. The driver put the car into gear before I'd even closed my door fully, pulling away from the curb in one smooth motion. I tried to shake the unease coiling in my stomach. So, you've got the address, right? I asked. He didn't turn his head. Yeah. Don't worry. His voice was calm. Too calm. Like someone practicing a line. We drove for a few blocks in silence. I stared out the window, trying to place where we were. The streets didn't look familiar. I knew this area, knew which turns we should be taking, but we were heading the wrong way. Hey, I said, leaning forward a little. I think you missed a turn. The driver didn't respond. His hands tightened on the wheel, knuckles white in the glow of the dashboard. I checked my phone. The Uber app still showed my driver as 2 blocks away, crawling closer to my pin. The photo on the app was not the man driving this car. My chest tightened. Pull over, I said, forcing my voice steady. I think there's been a mix-up. You're not my driver. This time, he did glance at me through the rearview mirror. Our eyes met for half a second. His were dark behind the reflection of his glasses, unreadable, but something in them made the bottom drop out of my stomach. They weren't surprised. They weren't confused. They were patient. And then, almost imperceptibly, he smiled. Not wide. Not cartoonish. Just a small curl of the lips, as if he'd been waiting for me to catch on. Almost there, he murmured. My throat went dry. I reached for the door handle, but when I pulled, it didn't budge. The child lock. Let me out, I said, louder this time. Right now. He didn't even blink. His eyes flicked back to the road, and the car took a sudden right turn down a narrow side street. The lamps here were fewer, farther apart. The sidewalks were empty, lined with shuttered shops and broken glass glinting faintly under the headlights. Panic started clawing at me, raw and animal. I pulled out my phone and hit the emergency button in the Uber app, praying it would alert someone. The screen flashed once, then froze. No signal. "Let me out of the car," I shouted, slamming my hand against the window. The driver began to hum. It was low, tuneless, almost a whisper of sound, but it filled the car. My fists pounded the glass, my voice cracked with screaming, but that hum never wavered. It rose and fell with the engine, steady, constant, like he wasn't even aware of me. My eyes darted around the interior, searching for anything I could use as a weapon. My bag was on the floor by my feet, half-zipped. I fumbled with it, yanking at the zipper, my hands trembling so badly I nearly dropped it. The car slowed as it approached a red light. For one split second, my panic sharpened into something like clarity. This was my chance. I lunged forward, reaching over the seat for the lock. The driver's hand shot out like a snake, clamping down on my wrist. His skin was ice cold, his grip unnaturally strong. "Don't," he whispered. That single word froze me harder than any threat could have. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't harsh. It was gentle, final. Like he wasn't warning me. Like he was promising me something inevitable. The light turned green, and the car surged forward again. I don't remember thinking. I don't remember deciding. I just remember the wild, primal certainty that if I stayed in that car another minute, I'd never leave it alive. With everything in me, I hurled myself sideways, slamming my shoulder against the opposite door. The glass exploded, shards tearing into my arm and neck, but adrenaline pushed me through. I forced my body through the jagged opening and hit the pavement hard, rolling across the asphalt. The world spun. My ears rang. Somewhere behind me, I heard the squeal of tires, the slam of a car door. I didn't look back. I ran. I don't know how long or how far. I just remember the burning in my lungs, the hot sting of blood running down my arm, the sound of my own heartbeat hammering in my skull. Eventually, I stumbled onto a busier street, collapsing near a group of late-night pedestrians. They rushed to me, voices overlapping in alarm. Someone called the police. Someone else pressed a jacket against my bleeding arm. When the officers arrived, I tried to explain, but the words tumbled out broken, frantic. They searched the area, but by then, the black sedan was gone. No license plate. No dashcam footage. Nothing. Here's the part that chills me the most. When I checked my phone later, my real Uber driver had arrived exactly 2 minutes after I left. He'd waited outside my friend's apartment, called me twice, then marked me as a no-show. There was no record of the car I'd climbed into. No explanation for how the man knew my name. Sometimes, when I lie awake at night, I replay that moment in the rearview mirror, the slight curl of his lips, the patience in his eyes. I tell myself I escaped. That it's over. But deep down, I know that smile wasn't about that night. It was about something else. Something still waiting. And I don't think I've seen the last of him. Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like and subscribe button, and then share with your friends. Your support helps us grow and create even more awesome content. We appreciate you being part of the journey. Here are a couple more videos for you to check out.